Joining me in studio to discuss the business of branding is Natalie Stephan. She's head of trade at Avusa. Zin Mabaso is managing executive at Tigerbrands and Culinary, and Lebogang Marudu is brand manager for Koo as well. Actually, no, that's a correction. Both of you from Tigerbrands this morning. Thanks so much to you all for joining us today. Let's perhaps start off with you, Natalie, because we've had the Sunday Times running this top brand survey for quite a while now. How do you actually, come up with what the top brands are? What are some of the criteria you look at?
We have the services of TNS survey, so it's an independent research study, and Sunday Times has used TNS now for the last 2 years, and then we go into field research. We look at about 3,500 people, and their opinions on who they think are the various top brands in the country.
I must say that it's come as a big surprise as to who the top brand is this year around. We've got Koo, and really kicking Coca-Cola off the pedestal that it's been holding for the past 13 years. So obviously ticking many of those boxes at this stage of the game. What exactly has propelled it to that position?
We look at two specific outcomes, one being the users and the non-users of the brand. And Koo is such a well-known, well-loved South African brand that it has just pipped Coke to the post. It was quite a big surprise for everybody, including the team over here. So we're very happy to have them and very happy that somebody has taken on a brand such as Coke.
Well, Zin, let's bring you in because, of course, Koo falling within the Tigerbrands portfolio of products. What exactly have you been doing differently and getting more right than you've gotten in the past?
I think if I can say, this is a journey. This brand has been on a journey for a couple of years now, and I think it's reached its peak. And it's really about connecting with the consumer, really understanding where they're at, and being able to engage them in what we call a conversation with the consumer. So this is a brand that's always been in the hearts of the South Africans, but I think highlighted now as a brand that you can't do without. And it's the platforms in which we've engaged them, the media types in which we've spoken to the consumer and they've spoken back to us, and just the engagement.
Let's take a closer look at that engagement and perhaps bring you into the conversation at this point, Gladys. I mean, looking at those platforms that you've taken a hold of when talking to the consumer specifically, what have some of those been?
Well, I think first I'd like to thank the team that works on this brand because it's such a phenomenal team and they've put such great effort into getting the brand to where it is today. We've taken a concept that we call Mama Koo, which is bringing Koo closer to South African mothers, because we believe that we partner with South African mothers to create the wonderful meals that they end up serving their families. And we've used radio as a key platform to engage with consumers on the score, to kind of, put ourselves out there and get feedback from them in terms of how they feel about the brand, what they'd like to see the brand doing, and where they'd like to see the brand going.
Yeah, you've got to look at this on two levels though, Natalie, and I'm going to hone in on, the cell phone or the telecom space, specifically telecommunications providers, looking at the differences in terms of perceptions out there within the consumer market, where when it comes to business categories, you've got Vodacom pipping MTN as a telecoms provider, but then when you're looking at the consumer category specifically, you've got MTN pipping Vodacom. So, what are some of the differences that we've got to take cognizance of?
Well, when you're looking at the business category, lots of companies have contracts with Vodacom, and that is really the market that they've secured. But after the Soccer World Cup, MTN in the hearts of consumers have won us over and over again. So the spend, when we went into field research, MTN was still very fresh in the minds of consumers, and that's really why they've overtaken Vodacom on in this year's top brands. It was also done before Vodacom had their rebrand, so next year we'll wait to see whether or not Vodacom takes back its place.
If we look at rebranding specifically, because we've seen Vodacom, venture down this path of being painted red, just how much, a change do you see this actually affecting down the line? Has it been an effective rebranding strategy in your mind?
I think it's been very effective for the Vodacom brand. It's refreshed the brand. It's kept it up to date with what's going on in the current economy. I think if you look at another category that we awarded at the Sunday Times Top Brands last night was the overall brand marketing manager of the year, which was Enzo Scottcello, who won it for the Vodacom rebrand. So I think from within the marketing fraternity, everybody thinks that the brand has really done the right thing.
That's very interesting, because I was reading last year's research, and that showing that in terms of marketing, it was the Ayoba brand with MTN that actually took it. So I guess it's also just who's coming up with refreshing ideas on a year-on-year basis. So having said that, then let's move on, Zin, and look at KOO's strategy for the year ahead. I mean, do you have any major innovative rebranding plans in place?
I think for us it's a continuation of the journey. So we're going to be connecting via innovation. We continue on the platforms, but we innovate the platforms to bring ourselves really much closer to the consumer. So we're really going to be on the ground going forward on the KOO brand.
Okay, well, that's some of what's playing out. I've picked up also a very environmentally focused agenda with this survey as well, and green awareness coming through. Pick n Pay coming up tops in that regard, taking first place as the brand that's done the most to promote green awareness. What exactly do you look at there, and what is Pick n Pay getting more right than the rest of the competitors?
Well, in terms of green, I think generally everybody's looking at how we're going to save our environment, and Pick n Pay has done quite a lot in the community in terms of having its bins outside so that there's a glass and paper and all that kind of recycling. We look at how easy they're making it for the consumer to ensure that the consumer is able to recycle and be environmentally friendly and green.
Gladys, is that a focus that KOO has right now?
I think it's something that we're definitely looking to get into the future. I think where we focus a lot of our attention on is in the material that we procure to put into our brand. So how we procure our beans, how we procure the peas that we put in there. And that's really the area that we focus on getting right from a green perspective.